In a future post-apocalyptic Los Angeles brought about by a nuclear decimation, citizens must live in underground bunkers to protect themselves from radiation, mutants, and bandits. This is also other known as the Fallout series. So yes, the Fallout Amazon Prime series got dumped on us a day early and all episodes at once. When talks about this was circling, I was iffy about it. Then when I finally saw the trailer for it, it actually looked kind of good. But like all video game adaptations, I was very skeptical because they like to take the property and then do whatever they want with it. Most of the times they end up changing what is the core of the property. They start mixing and matching and doing a bunch of mess. Luckily for the Fallout series, for the most part, each entry is different, so you can tell a completely different story. I do have to say, I consider myself a semi-casual. I played through 3, shout outs to Liam Neeson.
I've been hearing good things about you.
And I also played some of New Vegas. 4, I didn't really get into that much, and from what I can see, it got worse from there. Nevertheless, I understand Fallout and its place in gaming history. It's a legendary franchise, and I respect it. My question is, did Amazon respect it? Does the show do right for the franchise? And I believe it did. I do believe it captures the essence of Fallout. It looks, smells, and tastes like Fallout to me. A lot of other shows, they'll take the character and make them do things that they never do. It offers an interesting story, exploring a post-apocalyptic world, and the person who usually pops out from the vault will come across countless of people and do side missions and help out anyone they come across. And I feel like the show, for one specific story, did capture and had that kind of flow to it. And I really just enjoy the 1950s settings with that retro futuristic style. The music in the whole series was of that era and fit fantastic. Every time they did some sort of shot like that, it felt like a gaming trailer where they do that. But it looked cool. I liked it. It fits. It just looks so Fallout to me. I enjoyed it. It does have a pretty good cast for the most part. Ella Purnell plays Lucy McLean. She's our vault dweller. We have the legendary Walton Goggins as a ghoul. He's fantastic. And a few other surprises in there, including Moises Arias, aka Rico from Hannah Montana. He was great too. Shoutouts. Aaron Moten, who plays Maximus. I would say 80% of his screen time, he just has this face no matter what's happening. And it's just very monotone. It doesn't offer anything to me. He just has a very tough case of cara de pendejo. I'm sorry. Maybe it was the way the character was written. I'm trying not to be a complete asshole to this guy. Shout outs to him. But that's all I could think of every time he was on screen. But the rest of the cast I have no complaints about. My MVP, of course, is Walton Goggins, who plays the ghoul. They actually did something I was not expecting. They had 4 different storylines going on at the same time. We have Lucy, our vault dweller, Maximus, el cara de pendejo, and we have the ghoul, and they're each doing their own stuff and their paths intertwine and come and cross with each other. There is another storyline, but I'm not going to say who, to kind of keep it a little up in the air for you guys. And they each have their own different motivations as to why they're doing stuff, but they're all going for the same thing. They're all looking for this artifact. They're all looking to deliver this specific thing, and they all have different motivations. And of course, because you have Walton Goggins, he's not just a ghoul. He's way more than that. And his story, I think, gets the most shine, and keep going back in his storyline and explain his whole story. And he's got this badass accent that every time he spoke, he just sounds like a badass Uncle Baby Billy.
Well, now that is a very small drop in a very large bucket of drugs. Get over here. I'm gonna spank the shit out of both of you. Come get you. Get you. Yeah. Off my knee. Get out. Bad boy.
Shout outs to Righteous Gemstones, one of the best comedies on TV right now. The best thing I think that the show did, as much as I call myself a moron, is that the show didn't treat the audience like morons by over explaining things. A lot of shows, I don't know, showrunners think that the audience are too stupid and won't understand. They feel like they have to hit you over the head. You understand? You see this? You see that? Like, I get it. And what I appreciate from Amazon's Fallout, it doesn't do that. It feels like it under-explains some things, which I like. For example, like what the hell a ghoul is. They just say, oh, he's a ghoul. And they don't go on for 5 minutes on everything that it entails to be a ghoul. Instead, they show you throughout the whole season what it is to be a ghoul. Stuff starts to happen to Goggins. You're like, okay, that's what happens to ghouls. They can withstand shots to the chest. They regenerate or whatever they were showing. And a lot of shows nowadays would have a dialogue with the character sounding like he's reading off the damn wiki page. They would have two characters walking around and one would be like, well, ghouls are actually mutated humans or animals affected by phenomenon of ghoulification. And then they would just go on and you're like, this is not fun for me. You just give me the answer. You know, it's way more fun in a TV show and a series, especially something that has a bunch of episodes for you to sprinkle in some nuggets of knowledge, not only through words, but showing it to me through the show. So that, to me, by far was the best thing that they did. And because they don't really heavily explain things, it really makes me think or feel that it's for the fans. I did see that Todd Howard was involved with it. There was a ton of fanfare. I really liked any scene that involved the Pip-Boy. That thing just looks awesome. There was an episode that featured some body part targeting, which is really cool. The slow-mos, it helps that everything is really violent and fun. And another thing that makes it feel like Fallout, like I mentioned before, is that Lucy would just walk up on a guy, right? There's this guy that's in a diaper in one of the early episodes and he has a problem and she's kind of like, no, I don't want to help you out. So that whole interaction made it feel like she was just passing on a side mission, which I enjoyed. And the whole aspect behind the vault is really great. And the set inside the vault is really cool. It feels like the game. The unis are great. And I kind of like that in one of the other storylines that I'm not trying not to spoil, we keep coming back to the vault. So usually once you leave the vault, you're either checking out other vaults. You very rarely, if at all, come back to your own vault. But there's a storyline that takes place back at the vault that we keep coming back through. They get into the world building really quickly. I really like that. And then Lucy is eventually going to get out of the vault somehow. And the way we get there is different, but I feel like it fits. There are a bunch of weapons that I recognize from the games. The T-60 suits look great. I enjoyed the setting. I enjoyed knowing we were in LA. We did come across some mutilated animals, which I thought were really cool. The CGI isn't perfect. There, especially one character that wasn't a fan of. If I can pull up a picture, I will, and I'll post it. It was the Cyclops. He looked a little goofy, but what's going on around is more important. So I gave it a pass to a certain level. For TV, it's good. There are a ton of twists and turns. The drama is really good. And it's actually pretty funny at times, which I was not expecting at all. So did Amazon do a good job with Fallout? I think it did, especially when you look at what other streaming platforms have done to some franchise they've got their hands on. This is definitely one of the good ones. It's on the higher end, I would say. I'm putting my list in my head. But that's a question I'm going to leave up to you. Not only give me your top 5 best video game adaptations ever of all time down there, but also, if you're a fan of Fallout, what did you think of it? And if you've never heard of the Fallout video game or weren't privy or did not play that at all, what did you think as well? I love to see the opposite ends of the spectrum since I consider myself to be in the middle. I love to see what all you guys think about it. But the show just proved the mantra that I live by, which is outside is bad. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.